Schwartz's smirk was as unwelcome to me at that moment as an uncle and drag at a christening. Schwartz ambled over to the driver's side of the squad car and greeted the officer. Apparently he knew every cop on the force by name, since he said, "It's okay, Larry, she's with me." "That's what she tells me," Larry said. "Do you want me to call for a tow?" Schwartz shook his head. "That won't be necessary. I thought this might happen, so I brought a chain. I'll pull her out."
Who could have forgotten Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker? The two notorious television evangelicals made headlines when their massive Praise the Lord Club, PTL, was caught in a sex scandal and fraudulent activities. The multi-million-dollar empire collapsed after Jim Bakker was found to have bribed Jessica Hahn to keep quiet about a forced sexual affair. More evidence of impropriety became clear as investigators began to follow the money. At the time, a federal probe indicted Jim Bakker on 8 counts of mail fraud and another 15 counts of wire fraud. A 1989 jury convicted him on all counts, and he was sentenced to jail time and a $500,000 fine. Now, Jim and Tammy's son, Jay Bakker, continues the family tradition in his own way. The 37-year-old now runs the Revolution Church in Brooklyn, New York, as well as operating the church's online activities. Jay calls himself a pastor and preaches a doctrine of love and inclusion. His church meets on Sundays in the back of a dive bar near the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway called Pete's Candy Store. From the modest location, he has attracted an eclectic following of people from the area. The non-denominational church has attracted people who are generally ostracized in the more mainstream religious organizations. Jay caters to people in the LGBT community as well as others who wish to follow their faith in an unconventional manner. His tattoos and piercings make those in the punk community more comfortable. But let's be clear, Jay will likely take a poor man's last dollar just as quickly as his father did. There seems to be no guilt associated with the activity in the eyes of most preachers. One writer for The Atlantic reports seeing a man who obviously couldn't afford a pair of pants somehow coming up with $2 for the offering plate. Like father, like son. You may remember the name Mike Newdow. He was the man who very nearly succeeded in suing to have the words "under God" declared unconstitutional as they appear in the U.S. pledge to the flag before the Supreme Court determined that he lacked standing. Newdow now stands as the figurehead of a challenge to the official U.S. motto "In God We Trust." Along with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, or FFRF, and 18 other plaintiffs, the case Newdow v. Congress was filed along with a 116-page brief in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York in early February. The complaint, which is directed at the Department of the Treasury specifically, is called a tour de force of historical research in a press release from the FFRF. In an interview granted to the Christian Post, FFRF President Dan Bakker said that the motto is indeed considered to be a religious phrase. The message belongs in churches, private institutions, and can be shared by missionaries. But who is the "we" representing, if not all of us trust in God? The brief also makes a special point to note that at the time of the ratification of the law mandating the motto, several members of Congress spoke to the fact that the motto's intent was to proselytize overseas. The brief quotes then representative from Pennsylvania, Herman B. Eberharder, who said, "The American dollar travels all over the world into every country of the world, and frequently gets behind the Iron Curtain, and if it carries this message in that way, I think it would be very good." On March 15th, a non-binding declaration urging an end to violence against girls and women was passed by a commission established to advance women's rights. There had been opposition to the declaration of the 57th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women due to language concerning access to emergency contraception, abortion, and treatment of sexually transmitted diseases. In addition to the expected opposition from such members as the Vatican and several Islamic states, Russia's delegation also initially opposed the declaration. Some of the most vocal opposition came from Egypt, where the Muslim Brotherhood released a letter to other Islamic states urging their support in derailing the initiative, claiming that it would violate Sharia principles. The letter called the declaration's title "End Violence Against Women" a euphemism, and suggested that the document includes articles that contradict established principles of Islam, undermine Islamic ethics, and destroy the family. The letter hyperbolically then declared that the CSW declaration would lead to complete disintegration of society and would certainly be the final step in the intellectual and cultural invasion of Muslim countries, eliminating the moral specificity that helps preserve cohesion of Islamic societies. Nonetheless, after the passage of the pronouncement, Egypt's delegation vowed not to stand in the way of the declaration.